It hurts when you finally realize this truth, but that pain is the beginning of power. No one is coming to save you. No hero, no lucky break, no perfect moment knocking on your door. Every night you lie awake, hoping life will get easier. The world is moving on without your permission. You were not born to be carried, you were born to carry the weight. Comfort is the sweetest lie ever sold. It whispers tomorrow while stealing today. If you're broke, lost, angry, or behind, that's not a curse. It's a signal. A signal that it's your responsibility now. Discipline is the language of winners, and excuses are the currency of losers. You don't need motivation, you need standards. You don't need sympathy, you need structure. Build your body until it obeys you, sharpen your mind until it outthinks fear, and harden your spirit until pressure feels normal. When the world ignores you, work louder. When doubt screams, move faster. This is the harsh truth that sets you free. Nobody owes you anything, and that's exactly why you can become anything if you decide today and act like your future depends on it, because it does. Discipline is the foundation of freedom, because without it, you don't actually control your life. Your emotions do. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, and obey that feeling, you hand over authority. Emotions are temporary, irrational, and reactive, yet most people let them decide permanent outcomes. That's why so many lives look chaotic, inconsistent, and small. Discipline is the ability to act regardless of mood, fear, boredom, or comfort. And that ability is what separates the powerful from the powerless. When you wake up early, even when your body begs for comfort, you reclaim ownership of your time. When you train while tired, work while uninspired, and stay focused while distracted, you are telling your mind who's in charge. Freedom isn't doing whatever you want. That's weakness disguised as pleasure. True freedom is doing what must be done, even when every part of you resists it. The undisciplined person is always chasing motivation, always waiting for the right feeling, always negotiating with themselves and losing. They start strong, quit early, and repeat the cycle until disappointment becomes their personality. Discipline breaks that cycle by removing debate. There is no discussion with yourself. There is a standard and you meet it. That's it. Once discipline is installed, confidence follows because you trust yourself. You know that when things get hard, you won't fold. You stop fearing pressure because pressure becomes familiar territory. Your body becomes sharper, your mind quieter, and your decisions faster. Discipline simplifies life. Fewer excuses, fewer options, fewer regrets. It builds momentum, and momentum builds dominance. People think discipline is punishment, but it's protection from laziness, from weakness, from the version of yourself that wants comfort now and misery later. Every disciplined action is a vote for the future you claim to want. Skip the workout, waste the hour, avoid the hard conversation, and you vote against yourself. Do that long enough, and you become trapped, not by the world, but by your own habits. That's slavery, being controlled by impulses you can't resist. Discipline cuts the chains. It teaches you to delay gratification, to endure discomfort, to stay calm under stress. And once you can do that, no external force can dominate you. Chaos loses power over a disciplined mind. Fear loses its voice. Distractions lose their pull. You stop reacting and start directing. Life stops happening to you and starts responding to you. This is why disciplined people rise while emotional people complain. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. And execution requires discipline, not intense bursts, not motivational highs, but boring, repeatable, relentless action, day after day, when no one is watching, when results are slow, when progress feels invisible. That's where freedom is built, in the unseen moments where you choose structure over comfort. Over time, discipline compounds. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes routine. And suddenly, you have options others don't. Financial options, physical strength, mental resilience, respect. That's real freedom. Not freedom from responsibility, but freedom because of it. The harsh truth is this: if you don't discipline yourself, life will do it for you, and life is far less merciful. Choose discipline now, and you choose power later. Ignore it, and you'll spend your life obeying feelings that don't care where they take you. Discipline is the foundation of freedom because emotions are terrible leaders when left unchecked. They change with hunger, fatigue, fear, comfort, and mood, yet most people allow these unstable forces to dictate their actions. One bad morning can cancel an entire plan. One moment of doubt can erase months of intention. That is not freedom, that is emotional captivity. When you live this way, You are constantly reacting instead of deciding. You work only when motivated, train only when confident, and commit only when it feels easy. The result is a life built on inconsistency, where potential is always present but never realized. Discipline steps in where emotions fail. It doesn't care how you feel. It cares what must be done. And the moment you stop negotiating with your emotions, your life begins to stabilize. Discipline creates structure, and structure creates peace. You no longer wake up wondering what kind of day it will be because your standards don't change with your feelings. You show up because that's who you are, not because you feel inspired. That reliability builds self-respect. When you know you will do the work regardless of discomfort, fear loses its power. Anxiety fades because you trust your response to pressure. Most stress comes from knowing what you should do and repeatedly avoiding it. Discipline removes that internal conflict. There is no guilt, no self-loathing, no regret, only execution. People think discipline limits freedom, but the opposite is true. The disciplined person has more choices, more control, and more leverage. They are not trapped by bad habits, weak routines, or emotional outbursts. They don't waste energy fighting themselves. Every disciplined action strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, and that identity becomes unbreakable. Meanwhile, the undisciplined person is constantly exhausted, not from work, but from excuses. Their mind is loud, full of justifications and rationalizations. They promise themselves change tomorrow while repeating the same mistakes today. That cycle erodes confidence until they no longer trust their own word. That is emotional slavery, being dragged by impulses you didn't choose. Discipline is how you reclaim authority. It trains you to delay gratification, to sit with discomfort, to finish what you start. These skills don't just improve productivity, they harden your character. When chaos hits, disciplined people don't panic. When pressure rises, they don't collapse. They've practiced discomfort daily, so adversity feels familiar. Discipline also sharpens focus in a world designed to distract you. When everyone else is scrolling, reacting, and complaining, the disciplined individual is building quietly. That quiet progress compounds. Small actions repeated consistently outperform massive effort done rarely. This is why discipline beats talent, motivation, and luck over the long run. It doesn't rely on perfect conditions. It works in bad moods, bad days, and bad seasons. Over time, discipline reshapes your environment. Your body becomes stronger, your mind clearer, your finances steadier, and your reputation solid. People begin to trust you because you are predictable in the best way. You deliver. And with trust comes opportunity. That's real freedom, having options because you earn them. The truth most people avoid is this: if you don't control yourself, something else will. Your phone, your cravings, your fears, your past, or other people's expectations will happily take the wheel. Discipline is the refusal to surrender control. It is choosing long-term power over short-term pleasure again and again until that choice becomes automatic. Once that happens, emotions no longer dominate you, they inform you. You feel fear but act anyway. You feel tired but move forward. You feel doubt but stay the course. That's mastery, and mastery is freedom in its purest form. Discipline is the foundation of freedom because it is the only force strong enough to stand between who you are now and who you could become. Without it, emotions run the show, and emotions are unreliable, selfish, and short-sighted. They want comfort now, relief now, pleasure now, even if it costs you everything later. When you live by emotion, your life becomes a reaction to circumstances instead of a creation driven by intent. One bad comment ruins your focus. One failure kills your momentum. One uncomfortable task gets postponed indefinitely. You don't move forward, you drift. And drifting feels harmless until years pass and you realize nothing changed except your age. Discipline stops the drift. It gives your life direction even when motivation disappears. It anchors you to action when feelings try to pull you back into comfort. The truth is harsh but necessary. If you only act when you feel good, you will only live a small fraction of your potential. Freedom does not come from following feelings. It comes from mastering them. Discipline teaches you how to do that. It doesn't eliminate emotion. It puts it in its place. You still feel fear, doubt, boredom, and frustration, but they no longer get a vote. They can speak, but they don't decide. That's power. Most people never experience it because they mistake discipline for restriction. They think structure kills joy, but what actually kills joy is chaos, unfinished goals, broken promises to yourself, constant stress, and the quiet shame of knowing you could do more but don't. Discipline removes that inner conflict. When your actions align with your standards, your mind becomes calm. There is no arguing with yourself, no endless should I conversations. You already decided who you are and how you operate. That certainty is freeing. Discipline also builds resilience. Every time you do something hard when it would be easier to quit, you reinforce the belief that you can handle discomfort. Over time, discomfort loses its power to scare you. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. What once stopped you becomes fuel. This is why disciplined people grow under pressure while emotional people break. They've trained for adversity daily in small ways, early mornings, hard workouts, focused work, uncomfortable conversations. When life hits hard, it's just another rep. Discipline also protects you from self-betrayal. Nothing damages confidence more than repeatedly breaking promises to yourself. Each time you quit early or choose comfort over commitment, you send yourself a message that your word means nothing. Eventually, you stop trusting yourself. That's a quiet kind of imprisonment. Discipline restores trust. When you do what you said you would do, especially when no one is watching, you rebuild self-respect. And self-respect is the backbone of freedom. Without it, external validation controls you. With it, you move independently. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum creates belief. Small wins stack up. Consistent effort compounds. Results follow, and once you see results, you no longer need motivation. You've seen proof. Discipline also sharpens your identity. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What would someone like me do?" That shift is everything. Your actions come from identity, not emotion. You don't skip training because disciplined people train. You don't procrastinate because disciplined people execute. You don't fold under pressure because disciplined people endure. That identity becomes armor. The world can be loud, unfair, and chaotic, but it can't control someone who controls themselves. That's why discipline leads to freedom in every area of life. Financially, disciplined habits create stability and options. Physically, disciplined routines create strength and confidence. Mentally, disciplined thinking creates clarity and focus. Socially, disciplined behavior earns respect. None of that comes from emotional decision-making. Emotions chase relief. Discipline builds legacy. The uncomfortable truth is this: if you don't impose discipline on yourself, the world will impose limits on you. Bills, bosses, consequences, regret. Those are the penalties of undisciplined living. Discipline is choosing your pain instead of letting life choose it for you. And the pain of discipline is temporary, while the pain of regret is permanent. Freedom is not given to those who feel the best. It is earned by those who act despite feeling the worst. When you master discipline, emotions stop owning you. You still feel them, but they no longer define your path. You decide, you act, you endure. And that ability to choose action over impulse, purpose over comfort, is the highest form of freedom a person can achieve. The final truth is simple: and uncomfortable freedom is not something you feel. It is something you build, and discipline is the price. Every moment you choose structure over comfort, you reclaim a piece of your life. Every time you act despite fear, fatigue, or doubt, you prove to yourself that emotions no longer control the outcome. This is where real strength is born, not in loud motivation, but in quiet consistency. The lesson is clear: if you want a life that feels powerful, you must first become powerful enough to command your own behavior. Anything less is just hope dressed up as effort. Understand this deeply: emotions will never disappear, but they do not deserve authority. They exist to inform, not to rule. When you let them decide your actions, you stay trapped in cycles of starting and stopping, dreaming and quitting. Discipline breaks that cycle by removing choice from weakness. You don't ask how you feel, you act according to who you decided to be. That decision, repeated daily, turns chaos into order and potential into reality. The lesson here is mastery. Control yourself or be controlled by everything else. Over time, discipline reshapes your identity. You stop chasing motivation because you trust your habits. You stop fearing pressure because you've trained under it. You stop seeking validation because your self-respect is earned, not borrowed. This is where confidence becomes unshakable. Not because life is easy, but because you are prepared. The lesson is earned confidence when you keep promises to yourself. The world no longer intimidates you. So remember this above all else: freedom is not comfort. Freedom is competence. It is knowing that no matter how hard things get, you will show up, execute, and endure. Discipline gives you that certainty. And once you have it, no opinion, obstacle, or emotion can take it away. The ultimate lesson is responsibility, because the moment you fully accept that your life is in your hands, you stop waiting, stop complaining, and start becoming unstoppable. Thank you for giving me your time, your attention, and your focus. That alone puts you ahead of most people. If this message hit you, don't let it fade the moment the video ends. Take one lesson from this and apply it today, not tomorrow. If you felt value here, make sure you like this video so it reaches more people who need to hear it. Subscribe to the channel for more real, no excuses motivation, and share it with someone who's stuck and needs a push. Drop a comment telling me what discipline means to you, because saying it out loud is the first step to living it. Remember, motivation fades, but action builds power. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep moving forward. Thank you for watching. Now go do the work.